welcome to the Midweek Mashed Tattie Sportscast. This is MMA Mash, the weekly mixed martial arts roundup that features all the latest news and reviews from the UFC, One Championship, Bellator, the PFL, and so much more. My name is, of course, Mick, and as always, I am joined at cage side by the man that's most question and answer. It's Mr. Paul Kerr.
Yo!
And the ever controversial Mr. Harvey A. Smith.
We are.
What's cracking, lads?
Eggs.
Axe. Next.
Nice.
Fingers. Like this.
What a start.
Yes.
Look out a little bit. Okie dokie. Well,
Louise up.
this is true. Without further ado, let's have less of the chit chat. Less of the. Don't know what I'm trying to say. Let's just have less it.
Easy
On with the
peasy.
show. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on.
Right, straight on about it. Recaps. Only got the one short recap. UFC 277. What have you seen it?
I will respectfully dive out of the conversation until the main event, lads. I'm a main event shell as always. Come to me when you want to talk about the main event.
Fair dues.
I was gonna
Not
say-
even the co-main. That was also a title fight.
Oh, that. Well, to be fair, I'm talking about the whole main card.
I was going to say the main
Oh, the main
card. I think he's done.
card.
I did that a very big disservice there. The main card was very fun. However,
Okay.
I am main card Paul as always.
Sound. Harvey, can you beat the main card?
Why? At first, I was going to say I watched Penna get battered for 5 rounds, but I'm sure we won't do that.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry, spoiler.
Which Pena? Well, you'll just have to tune in and find out.
Oh,
Okay, strong start. Here we go. Okay, right, bottom to top, as always. So, opening the card was Orion Kosuke defeating Mike Mathetha. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that, but that's how it's written. Mathetha. Unanimous decision. Solid opener. Not much more to say. Second fight was Nikolai Nigamarenu defeating Ior Putira. Or there or thereabouts. That was TKO punches round 2. I have noted, dude's a beast. That was a cracking fight, man.
Lovely note. But I concur.
Nigamarenu, or however you pronounce that name, man. The dude is legit, man. He's a beast. It was a good wee fight. That Patera's like, he's decent, man. He's tough, but he took a bit of a beating there. Next out, we had Jocelyn Edwards defeating Ji-Yoon Kim. Split decision victory for Edwards. On this one, I have noted meh.
Well, if you had seen my head movement, I was like, yeah. It was okay.
It was alright. It was alright. It was alright. I can't say much more than that, to be honest. Wasn't terrible. I've seen worse fights, but it was alright. Then we had Michael Morales defeating Adam Fugit. And that is actually how you pronounce that name, based on how the commentator pronounce it.
That is how it's pronounced.
Aye.
Fugit.
Fugit.
It's like a Christian. It's like a Christian instead of saying fuck it, they're like fuck it.
Aye. I kind of wish it was Fugit, because then you could just constantly mispronounce it. There'd be so many good puns. But anyway, Fugit it is. So TKO punches, I have noted for this one, hella fun. That was a good fight, man. I enjoyed it.
Wasn't it? It was actually a good fight, so it was.
Relatively back and forth. Like, Fugit was in the fight, but Morales was like, he was kind of that wee level above him, kind of thing. Just sort of outstriking him.
I think he
and
was
stuff,
like
man.
landing cleaner.
Cleaner shots, better shot selection probably as well.
Mm.
I enjoyed it, man. I enjoyed it. Third round, minute and 9 in, TKO punches. Next up, we had Drakkar Klose defeating Rafa Garcia. I have noted, close fight. This one was a unanimous decision. Pun fully intended, by the way. Close fight, but close picked up the victory. Unanimous decision, but I mean, and what was it? So, 29-28 across the board, but like for me, that doesn't quite do it justice. I thought it was a really close back and forth fight. Really enjoyed it as well, though. Good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next one. This was interesting. Let's see if I can do any better there, man. So it was Hamdi Abdel Wahab, I believe is how you pronounce it, defeating Dontel Mayes. Split decision for Hamdi, but I've made a wee note here, heavyweight cardio, because this was a couple of heavyweights that actually had cardio, man. They went at it for 3 rounds. I mean, to be fair, they were both burst by the end of it, but they went at it for 3 rounds.
Hamdi looked handy, didn't he?
Hamdi did indeed look handy. Yep.
Is this the gentleman that's from Egypt, by any chance?
Indeed, yeah.
I do remember Dana White speaking about this in the post-fight conference, which I did actually take in. And he was very complimentary about him.
The guy has
there was a big star coming for that region.
He's got a ton of potential, man. He is the UFC's first and only Egyptian fighter.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure there was somebody that represented the Egyptian flag a few years back, but they weren't Egyptian born. I think they were like American, but with Egyptian heritage or something like that. Try to think who it would have been. Don't know. But anyway, Egyptian born and bred Azur Hamdi, and he is indeed a Olympic wrestler. He represented Egypt at the Rio Olympics. Took like 5th, I think, something along the lines at the Olympics. Right. So he is a legit wrestler. And this was only his, I think, 6th professional MMA fight. He took the fight in like 12 days' notice. So, as good as that guy looked, imagine him in a full training camp.
Shit, no, I was just saying, that's 12 days. 12 days, you said, right?
Now, I don't know how. I don't know if he was like training for another fight. You know what I mean? Because he, like as I say, cardio, man. The guy, he doesn't look like he would have cardio necessarily. Like he's 6'3" and built like fucking gable end of a brick house. But well, to be fair, gable end of a brick house, it's maybe clad in something slightly flabby. However, you can definitely tell the guy's an athlete. But I would not have expected the cardio that he's got. Like. But then I suppose he's got that kind of wrestling cardio. Like, they can just go to a dark place, the guys. And just keep going and going. But I like pretty decent striking for a wrestler that's new to MMA. I've got to say. Wasn't he like super technical, but decent timing. He was able to judge the range pretty well. Looks hella powerful, man. He landed an overhand right on Maes' shoulder at one point and nearly knocked him down.
How funny would that be if he just smashed his collarbone?
TKO versus punch to the collarbone, resulting in a fractured collarbone.
Snapped my clavicle.
I mean, I don't doubt he's got the power for it. And then when he had to go to the wrestling, like, it was a very clear advantage for him, unsurprisingly.
I was going to say, that's something I didn't know, actually, that he was an Olympic wrestler. And, I mean, look back to it when it did go to, it makes sense that he was, because he looked very, very at ease.
Aye. He moved from position to position, with ease. Aye. For a guy who has size and shape to move the way he did and have the control that he's got was impressive. At one point, I think in the second round, there was an exchange where they ended up on the deck, and then Maes tried to get up, and Hamdi grabbed him from behind and did a belly to back suplex. Like he just grabbed him and threw him. Very impressively, I've got to say. Just popped the hips and away he went.
Where are you going, son? Get back here.
So I definitely watch out for that guy. That's a name to remember. It's a fucking hard name to say, but it's a name to remember.
I mean, Who else in the heavyweight division has top wrestling like that?
Now, Curtis Blades.
That's
Like DC obviously had Olympic level wrestling, but he's now retired.
he's retired. I mean,
So
like,
he's-
he's
so
what I mean.
actually,
Like,
actually active. Really, it's Curtis Blades is the only guy that's got legit high level wrestling. There's other guys in the heavyweight division that can wrestle, but Curtis Blades is the only one that comes to mind that's got like proper technical high level wrestling.
I mean, that's something he could use to his advantage. Like, you know, a lot of the heavyweight guys, I know they like to stand up and strike, like, and fight, but if you want to go places, if you want to get a championship, use your tools to your advantage.
All he has to do is follow the Daniel Cormier blueprint, pretty much. Like, just adapt DC's style to suit his body shape and size, reach. Like, if he can mix up his wrestling and striking the way DC did, like, he could run through that division.
Yep.
He's got a ways to go. He has to improve some shit, but
Of course,
he's got the potential to do it, man. That is like, that guy's going to be fighting for a title inside of 3 years, I would imagine, unless something goes wrong.
I mean, that's only 6 professional MMA fight. Like, sky's the limit, really.
What will be interesting is to see him go against somebody like a Derek Lewis, Ben Rothwell, somebody like that. To be fair, I think Ben Rothwell's left UFC now, but anyway, somebody like who's big and strong, isn't necessarily a great wrestler, but can defend against a wrestler, but has that crazy knockout power. That would be a serious test for him. I mean, even going against somebody that's like a really good technical striker would be a test, but you would imagine then if they've not got the sort of strength and ability to defend the wrestling, then they're just going to get flung about like an empty tracksuit. Sky's the limit for him. So, next out, we had Drew Dober picking up a kind of, to me, surprise TKO win over Rafael Alves via Mahusiv body shot in the third round. This was a fun fight, man. I thought Alves was winning it. Like, that dude, Rafael Alves is a lightweight, I want to say that was.
Lightweight.
Lightweight, and he fights like a flyweight, man. The guy looks like he's in fast forward. He's so fast and explosive. It's unreal.
He is actually pretty quick, isn't he?
Crazy, man.
Thinking about it.
Like, Dober's a pretty athletic and fast guy for lightweight. Like, Alves was next level. He was redonkulously fast. But and as much as it was back and forth, like, it looked like Alves was kind of cruising through that fight. And then Dober just shot him off with a massive body shot. And I have noted very deliberately here that I'm gutted for Alves after that gut shot. And the thing is, it was nearly, it was a well set up punch to the body, but it wasn't a liver shot, which was interesting. It was like kind of top of the ribs on the right side of Alves, kind of just under the pec, just that sort of top rib area, kind of just off to the side of the solar plexus, kind of thing. It just totally took the wind out of him, shot him down.
I think that's what it was. It was a wind. I don't think he wasn't ready for it, was he?
I think that's it. I don't think he expected a body shot, because I said Dober set it up well. Like, he threw a right to the head and then came under it with a sort of fast, surprising left. I think it was a left hook, kind of long left hook in the body. And there was that kind of momentary pause where Alves was like, he's thinking like everything's all right. That was nothing. And then he just went just shut down. He just turned up. Oh no! I wasn't ready. But definitely look out for Rafael Alves in the future, man, because that guy is damn good and he's massively athletic. Right, rounding out the undercard, we had Alex Morono defeating Matthew Semmelsberger. Unanimous decision. That was another fun fight. Another kind of back and forth fun fight. I really enjoyed that one as well. Morono looking, both of them really looking pretty good, I've got to say, but Morono again, just that wee step above and picking up the decision, man.
Mm-hmm. Just did a wee bit more, didn't they? So.
Aye, that was it. That wee bit quicker off the mark, doing that wee bit extra, landing the wee extra shot on the end of the combination kind of thing, just edging it.
Mm-hmm.
Then, moving on to the main card. Paul may now enter the conversation.
Hello, I'm back.
I was going to say, Paul has entered the chat.
Main card opener was Magomed Ankalaev defeating Anthony Smith. TKO punches, technically, round 2. And this was a case of Anthony Smith getting in the latest trend, which is pick up a leg injury and follow it.
It's all the rage in it, man. It's this season's must-have accessory, which is a gammy leg.
Ground and pound.
The initial chat was that it was a potential break to either the lower shin or the ankle. However, the chat from Dana White was that initial checks suggest no fractures.
That's what I was just about to add. Yeah.
I don't actually know what the injury is at this time.
But he seemed to think in the cage that he'd broken his leg, though.
Aye,
if I remember correctly. Just after the fight, he was shouting outside. I think to the commentary team, it's broken. It's obviously something up.
So I don't know if it's a hairline fracture and it's just not been picked up yet, or if it's just like, I don't know, just a bad dead leg or some shit. I don't know. But seemingly it came for a kick like that Anthony Smith threw, and he's effectively injured himself by kicking Ankalaev. But nevertheless, Ankalaev did what he had today. Striking looked good.
Mm-hmm.
Grappling, didn't see that much of it, but the grappling that we did see looked good. Ankalaev's a Dagestani guy. Interesting thing came up for Daniel Cormier on the commentary. He was saying that in Dagestan, like all the fighters that come out of Dagestan that stay in Dagestan, they all stay in the same wee village, and they've actually got 2 gyms, and so Khabib and his crew, which is all the smaller guys, they all train at one gym, and then all the guys that are a bit bigger seem to train at another gym just down the street.
I know that's something. I found that very interesting when Cormier was talking about that he was coming for a different gym within Dagestan.
Which
definitely
that makes things even crazier to me.
Aye, there's 2 separate kind of lots of them all training together, but yet roughly it's the same kind of style of fighter, really, isn't it?
Yep.
I think even with this leg injury for your man Smith, I think it was only going one way anyway, wasn't it? Really.
It wasn't a great matchup for Smith. Like, it would have been, minus the injury, it would have been a tough fight for Ankalaev, but I don't doubt that he would have got past him. He might have struggled to stop Anthony Smith. Like, Anthony Smith's got good striking, good grappling. He's got good submission defence and stuff like that. So I think that Ankalaev would have continued to land strikes and he would have continued to land takedowns. But I think Anthony Smith would have had the tools and experience to survive. But it would have been a lopsided decision in the end, I feel, for Ankalaev. Interesting to see where Ankalaev goes next. A big win over Anthony Smith would really propel him up the division, but it moves him on, but like without much fanfare. So
do you know why he kind of talked that down post-fight? So he did in the kind of press conference when he was asked about it. I think Ankalev's kind of chat was, it has to be me next for like a title match, because I think he was ranked 4 going into that fight.
Yep.
He's won, so his ranking probably goes up. And really, you've seen 4th ranked guys get title fights, so I think that's where he's coming at. But Dana White kind of, I thought it's as if he didn't appreciate the question when it got put to him that was he next for a title match. Okay. Like, so that's obviously not Dana White's plan.
I wouldn't be shocked to see, based on sort of social media chat that's been going on for the last month or so, I wouldn't be shocked if we have a rematch between Yuri Prochaska and Glover Teixeira, and then we have Jan Blankovic versus Ankalev potentially for the kind of number 1 contender fight.
I mean, that's a tough fight. Jesus.
I wouldn't be shocked to see that. But any of the 3 guys versus Ankalev is an interesting matchup. Glover is probably get the best grappling out of them. Prochaska's probably get the best striking, and Blankovic is probably get the best kind of all round game. But and like, I think Ankalev can potentially beat any one of them.
It's a problem, isn't it?
With the right approach, with the right sort of camp and stuff. So, interested to see how that plays out over the next kind of 12 months. We'll see what comes for that. So, next up, we had Alexander Pantoja defeating Alex Perez in what can really only be described as a walk in the park. It was like Rock'em Sock'em Robots for about 10 seconds, and Pantoja did not look phased for any one of those seconds.
No.
And then he got his hands on Perez and he strangled
him. Pretty much. That's the best quick summation as you can get. Aye.
He walked right on through the firefight, grabbed the hodium and strangled him. That's how it went. 1 minute and 31 seconds. 91 seconds is all it took. And barely broke a sweat, man. I thought we're like, the way they started, man, they like just met in the middle and started swinging. I was like, oh shit, this is going to be fight of the night, man. This is going to be good. And then Pantoja just kept going forward, got his hands on him. And then Perez just looked a bit lost. And Pantoja just got his back, standing up, got his back, got him against cage, got a real naked choke. Didn't have it locked in, but didn't care. Just went with a neck crank, squeezed the shit out of him, yanked his neck, and that was that. He's now been described by some of the fighters and stuff on social media as the potential future of the flyweight division. Pantoja.
Next up,
looks very promising. I don't know. The flyweight division, as we'll talk about more in just a second, is in an interesting kind of place now. Obviously, the co-main event that we'll get to in just a second was for the interim flyweight title. But interestingly, Pantoja holds wins over both Moreno and Kai Kara France. They were all on the same season of The Ultimate Fighter in 2016. And Pantoja beat them both. He beat Moreno by submission and Kai Kara France by decision. And then after that, in 2018, Pantoja then beat Moreno again, this time by decision. So a potential matchup between Pantoja and Moreno for the interim title, or indeed for the full title, would be very interesting. I don't doubt that Moreno is a much improved fighter even for 2018, let alone 2016. He's really developed, but like that would be a big task, like mentally, to go against that guy. I'm pretty sure he'll want that fight to happen. He'll want to get a win back against him. So it's an interesting one to me, man. But we'll talk a wee bit more about the flyweight division momentarily. So next out, back to the heavyweights, we had Sergey Pavlovich defeating Derek Lewis in what can only be described as a controversial finish.
Now,
what do we think, lads?
Well, this is what I was going to say. What point of view do you stand on with it? Because I can see either.
I personally understand why the referee would step in and stop it, because Derek Lewis did get hit with a flash knockdown, and he did face plant for about half a second before he started getting back up. So it's understandable that in the heat of the moment, seeing him face plant, you can understand the referee wanting to step in. However, it's my humble opinion that the referee should have then adjusted his trajectory and jumped out the road, because Derek Lewis was clearly getting back up as soon as he hit the deck.
Getting back up. Yeah. Aye. I see why the referee stopped the fight. And you have to go back before he face planted. So just before that, you got the old wobbly knees.
Yep.
He's moving backwards. Sergey is punching him, and then Derek Lewis isn't returning it, and he's trying, I would say, to move away, but not very well, because he's still getting smacked. And then in the end, I think his foot probably touches the cage, and he realises he can't go back anymore. He's trying to move to the left, gets hit, face plant. Sergey jumps on him, hits him a couple of times. The referee's like, so I guess the whole combination, I guess, is why the referee stopped. Yep. I think if that whole series of events didn't happen, and it was just boom, he get knocked down and he was getting back up, I think the referee would just been like, all right, let him fight.
Right.
I think the whole series of events there, I think I counted it, and I think it was like 15 punches he took.
Now, are you sure that that's 15
sequence
landed and no 15 thrown? Because see, when you see the slow-mo, Derek Lewis, although it's no particularly technical head movement, he is sort of ducking and diving, and a good few of the punches just glance off him and miss.
No. It was... That's... Definitely landed.
Right.
Oh, no. Aye. Definitely.
I would be interested to see what out of the punches thrown A landed and B could really be called significant in the lead up to it. However, in the heat of the moment, at full speed, I can totally see the referee thinking that most of them are landing, and the way Derek Lewis is moving, thinking that every one of them's doing damage.
I mean, that's what I really sit on, lads, is that the fact that we've sat here week upon week when a referee hasn't stepped in, when a guy has taken needless punishment because a ref hasn't reacted quick enough to unanswered punches. And what you saw was a guy who looked, as Harvey said, very wobbly legs. He then drops face down. The ref reacts with what he's seen in that heat of the moment and what's right in front of him. It is super unfortunate, and I agree. I don't think Derek Lewis was done. But I didn't know that until he got up. I thought, oh Christ, he's out. It was only when he stood back up I thought, shit, he's not even dazed. Oh dear. I can appreciate why the ref stopped it. And I think that's why Lewis didn't actually lose the rag at the ref. He wasn't happy, but he respected where the ref came from, which suggests he understands and accepts a bit why the ref has done what he's done. It's unfortunate, but I'd prefer a referee behaving like that rather than a ref leaving it too late, and in fact he is hurt and then he takes a hell of a doing because the ref's giving it let's just check.
Aye. There's a problem very specific to the UFC. It does exist in other organisations, and I have spoke about this before, but it's primarily a UFC problem. A lot of guys in the UFC and girls are on win bonuses. Their pay is split. They get half their money or 3/4 of their money for showing up and fighting, and then they get the rest if they actually win the fight. Derek Lewis, I do believe, is now in a flat rate. I could be wrong in that, but I think Derek Lewis is now in a flat rate. I think he gets about 200,000 a fight or something like that. Could definitely be wrong. I'm going off of memory. My memory is notoriously no great, so could be wrong. So I think in this case, referee gets away with it. His stoppage, although ultimately in hindsight early, was justifiable in the moment. He erred on the side of caution, which is always the right side to err on, because we're dealing with folks' lives ultimately. However, had Derek Lewis been on like 20,000 to show up and 20,000 to win, you would be fucking fuming that the referee has potentially just taken $20,000 off you, because a guy like Derek Lewis, who only needs one punch, could very easily, within the next 10 seconds, have stood up and flatlined Pavlovich. Although, obviously, unlikely based on how the fight was going, it is entirely possible that he could have did that. So, it is a problem. And it's more a case of being a problem with how UFC deals with fighter pay, more so than it is a refereeing issue or whatever else. The referees can't be thinking about how much a guy's getting paid or how their pay is sort of broken down or whatever. You know what I mean? Like their thought process has to be safety of the fighters first. So I think in that situation, the referee's probably done the right thing. But it's very, as you said, Paul, it is very unfortunate. Pavlovich is a guy who looks like a fucking Russian experiment. He's like Ivan Drago 2.0. He's like six foot 3 or 4, 80-inch reach, I think. Moves very athletically. Just a big, heavy athlete that punches hard, has like very good sort of like hand speed, and you know what I mean. Like his boxing technique is good. His footwork is good. He just looks like he came out of a Russian lab. You know what I mean. I could see him like if he had went down a different path years back. I could see him doing very well as a boxer. He's got the right kind of build for it and the athleticism for it. He's only like 30, even though he looks like 45, just because he's Russian. You know what I mean? He's one of these guys. But he's only like 30, so he's got plenty of time left. But very unfortunate, because he is who he is, looks how he looks, and performs how he performs. If he had got a legit stoppage there, that would be massive for his career trajectory. Derek Lewis was fighting in Texas. No Houston, which I believe is his hometown. It was Dallas, but still, he's in Texas. You don't want him. Like, he's big money over in Texas. He's a massive fan favourite. You don't want any controversy near him. If he loses, he loses, you know what I mean? But you don't want any controversy, because that just bums the fans out. Puts them off. So, unfortunate all round.
I mean, he's in a bit of a bad run, Derek Lewis, isn't he?
He is a wee bit.
His third loss.
It's all went wrong since that title fight, isn't it? Really, we began.
He is, he's effectively a big kind of lovable rogue who's a bit of a...
He's like a heavyweight Diaz, isn't he? Basically.
Kinda.
Like, he's a big character, he's beloved, he's had some moderate success.
He loves to fight, loves to knock guys out, doesn't he enjoy training?
Aye.
That's the unfortunate truth. He is, by his own admission, not interested in 5-round fights. He would probably love it if it was just one single 5-minute round. That would probably do him fine. I would actually be interested in seeing Derek Lewis and saw him like bare knuckle fighting.
Probably not, by the way, aye.
God damn, the power that he's got. As long as he's got like the bone structure so that his hands don't disintegrate with that power.
Aye.
He would be an absolute force in that. It's like 3-minute rounds. Is it 3? Is it 2? It's either 2 or 3-minute rounds, can't remember. I think it's 3-minute rounds.
I've yet to sit and watch one of the pay-per-view cards, I'm not going to lie.
I've never watched a card start to finish. I've only ever watched fights.
YouTube clips, mate, for me.
If I'm interested in the fighters, I'll look up the fight and I'll watch the fight. I don't go and sit and watch the event. It hasn't pulled me in that kind of way. The problem I've got specific to what's it cried? Bare Knuckle Fight League, or what's the promotion cried? I can't think.
BKFC,
BKC. Bare Knuckle Championships, isn't it? That's it.
Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, BKFC.
They lean too much towards the kind of carny side. They're all too happy to sign guys that will go in there and swing with reckless abandon and take a ton of punishment and stuff. That's the stage of development that the promotion's at. when they get to a point where there's enough guys with high level skill sets that it's a wee tiny bit more kind of highbrow, then I'll probably pay more attention. But they are signing more and more high level guys that are coming off a UFC, Bellator, wherever, and MMA, and they're going there to make more money. So it is getting more interesting. But unfortunately, it's usually guys that are kind of more on the downward turn in their careers, generally speaking. So, but I don't know if I mentioned this on. I don't think I did actually. Just from talking about them. I'm pretty sure it was just in the group chat I mentioned to you. They recently signed Bacau, who is an absolute legend in Thai boxing, and he's regarded by many as the GOAT.
That's right.
He's an absolute animal, so he is. He's probably too far gone to stick around in there for like a long period of time. The guy's probably had well over 200 fights at this point, but he's a legend. He's notoriously tough. Like, he's one of these guys that kind of started the way of putting the hands down and just walking forward and eating punches to get in the other guy's head. Always was one of the kind of better Thais in terms of their boxing, and like he had great kicks, knees, elbows, but like he had really good hands. Very powerful hands. So I'm really, really intrigued to see what he can do. He's one of the sort of highest, if not the highest skill set guys that's went into that promotion. So very intrigued to see what he can do there. Anyway, back to the UFC. So co-main event, as previously mentioned, Brandon Moreno, Kai Kara-France, interim flyweight title. Both guys looking good, but Moreno class above. Ultimately stops the fight in the third round with a massive body kick.
Against the liver,
TKO win.
Liver shot.
Shot him down, basically, man.
Ridiculous liver kick, man. Very powerful.
Oh, absolutely flattened him with it, man.
And so, really, it takes us into this weird place. So they had Davison Figueiredo go into the octagon after the fight, and they had a bit of face-off and stuff. But there's a lot of chat that Figueiredo, who is the current champion, is injured. He's due to return later in the year. There's a lot of chat that he will not fight at flyweight again. How true that is, I don't know. But supposedly, like, it's a big-ass weight cut for him, and he's expected to move to bantamweight very, very soon. So, and then the other thing is, he's apparently, prior to the decision being made that he had to sit out for a bit due to injury, the UFC was working on the fourth matchup. What, fourth? Third?
Fourth fight,
No, fourth.
Fourth it would be, mate. Fourth.
Aye, fourth fight between him and Moreno, and apparently he wasn't interested. He was pushing back and saying that, no, I've already fought him 3 times. I'm the champion, I'll take on somebody else. So, I don't know if we actually get these belts unifying directly through Moreno and Figueiredo 4.
Post-fight for me, lads, did it not feel a bit disrespectful, all in all, towards Moreno?
In what sense?
He's just won his title. He barely gets a moment, and they've got the sitting champion that's injured in there. He doesn't get his moment to celebrate whatsoever, basically, before he's getting pro wrestling style shite kind of chucked down his throat. It felt a tad disrespectful to me, to both him and Kai Kara-France, who just knocked lumps out of one another, and it's all about
I can definitely see
pushing
that.
the company's agenda, basically, for me.
I think I would be more annoyed with it if it was flipped. If it was flipped and it was Moreno had just won the full title and Figueiredo was holding on to the interim title, and so they're marching the interim champion in and busting the champions bubble to have a face-off. That would be like kind of a wee bit heavy-handed for the promotion. I think being that it's the interim title that he's just won, it's effectively number 1 contender spot. So the champion's there. I can see why they would want to capitalise on it. It would probably be nice to, hold off 30 seconds, hold off a minute, Let Moreno
I just
really
felt it was all
celebrate
a bit quick. It was all a bit rushed for me. And if you're saying that he's potentially not even considering going back to that way again, Figueiredo, then why would be my question? Is he in there in general?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why is he straight in there if that's not even potentially his A plan? Like, he's wanting to go up. You know what I mean?
It's it's probably a lot of it will be the promotion. You know what I mean? Like it'll be the producers, it'll be Dana White, it'll be them saying like Figueiredo's at cage side. If Moreno wins this, get him in the cage as quick as possible. Let's get a face off. They would probably have done the same with Kai Kara France just because it was for the interim title. But there's that much more sort of drama and marketability if it was Moreno winning, which ultimately it was.
To be fair to Figueiredo, he's said in there, look, this isn't about me, this is about Brandon.
Right.
And he's kind of tried to be a bit respectful when it's the post-fight interview with Joe Rogan and the translator. Like he's been respectful at least, but I don't know, man. It just they two guys had just had a great 3 rounds. Like I thought more kind of respect should have been put in that.
Aye, no, I definitely get that, man. I kind of feel like the post-fight press conference is a better time to be having guys face off and talking about what's next. But you can understand at the same time why pay-per-view eyeballs are on it. You want to get the guy in, strike when the iron's hot, as they say. Get the guy in, set up the next fight. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll leave that one out there.
Leave that for the businessman.
So God knows what happens next at flyweight, to be honest. There's a lot of interesting fights that could be made, but what's actually going to happen at the top with the title, I do not know at this point. Do not know. Very interested to see actually if Figueiredo ultimately decides that he's moving up to bantamweight. How long do they let him hold on to the title? At what point does he does he get stripped or is forced to relinquish it? I'm sure, and for sort of marketing standpoint, for him trying to make the most money he can make, he would love to step up and fight for the belt at 135 and go up and be like a two-weight champ. Like concussively, like holding 2 belts at one time, can I?
Absolutely.
Whether the UFC would allow that.
Can what?
What? Concussively? Is that the right
That's the right word, to be fair, no. Concussively.
Concurrently?
It's something along the lines. I don't know. I'm not a dictionary.
Aye.
I'm barely a professional podcaster here. That's just the countdown.
I like that you've went for the big fancy word, but I'm not sure if that's the word.
I swing for the fences, you know what I'm saying?
You've went ahead. I mean, you shoot for the stars, you'll land in the moon, bro.
Oh, Christ. Anyway, God knows what happens there.
Consecutively? No,
because it's not consecutive. It's at the same time. You see?
It's concurrently. I think it's concurrently.
Aye, that sounds right.
Everybody's saying what to start with a C.
Oh, Christ.
Somethingly.
Oh, Christ.
Outstanding.
Moving on. Main event. Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena. The rematch. I have noted here, deliberately dominant. I feel like Nunes went in there to make a point.
I feel I was watching Nunes again would be the best way for me to put it.
I was massively stressed watching that fight.
It was a do.
See, the reason I was getting stressed was because the first 2 rounds, it was massively clear that although Pena is very tough, probably too tough for her own good, Nunes' clear path to victory was sitting outside and counter-strike. She knocked her down, I think it was 3 times in the first 2 rounds. Might have been 4.
I think it was 5, by the way, I heard Dana White say.
I think it was 5 knockdowns overall, but I don't know if they were on the first 2 rounds.
It was that dominant, no, mate.
But nevertheless, like, I understood why she went to the grappling and taking her down the first couple of times, but after escaping for like the third or fourth submission attempt and coming far too close to getting submitted, surely you've got to change the game plan back to plan A and go back to the counter striking. Why continue to grapple? I get that she was landing the ground and pound and she was making a statement that she can win the fight anywhere, she can take her down, she can beat the shit out of her. She was really hammering that point home, but it was bugging me, man. I was shouting at the telly. I was like, what are you doing? Stun up. Stun up. What are you doing? But credit to Penna for being hard, I guess.
That's a tough girl, aye. That is a very tough girl.
But
I hope her daughter didn't watch it. It's the only thing I would
bloody brutal.
Her daughter that was at the weigh-in with her.
I don't get me started on that. I've got to tell you
I
that.
don't
See
know if
the
that's a
amount
place
of
for your
people,
kids, like
MMA media, celebrities, fighters, all these folk on social media sharing that picture of Juliana Penna's daughter standing to the side, slightly behind, kind of off to the side diagonally, whatever, behind her mum with the jukes up as if she's squaring up to Nunes as well. And all these folks saying, look at this is great, it's such a powerful picture, she's got her mama's back and all this kind of stuff. I'm thinking, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Why would the wee girl have their mum's back in the fight?
Why is she on the stage, number one? Why is she allowed to stand that close to them, number two? Like, I get that Penna is raising her wee girl to be tough and strong and to stand up for what's right and not be scared of bullies and etc. etc. Great parenting. Why is she on the stage? Like her and Nunes, they're friendly, they're respectful fighters, they're professional, they're unlikely to get in a brawl.
Aye.
But anybody that's on that stage could, for any reason, do something that causes a ruckus, and that wee lassie could get kicked square in the head, she could get knocked off the stage, anything could happen. Why put her in that position?
It's not for me. I'm not going to tell anybody how to parent, but if it was me in that position, I don't think I would have my wee. If it's me in a fight, I wouldn't have my wee boy bloody squaring up to the guy that I'm going to fight in an MMA contest. It's not a good call, I don't think.
Nah.
No, quite for me, I'm afraid.
Anyway, back on track. So what next is the question. Nunes is once again, and to be fair to her, worth noting, first time ever, she is a 2-time champ. First time ever. Nobody's been a two-weight champion, a concurrent, I'm going with that word, I'm hoping it's the right word. Nobody's been a concurrent two-weight champ twice. She's the first person to do it. She still has her featherweight title. She has regained her bantamweight title. Now the question is, does she go back to featherweight now and defend that belt? Probably should. It's been a wee while since she's done that. Does she stay at bantamweight and defend the belt against whoever the next challenger might be at bantamweight? Or do they go down the road of the super fight with Valentina Shevchenko, which would most likely take place at bantamweight for the bantamweight title? From a business standpoint, it's a fairly easy decision to make.
Aye. But I heard something, there was some rumours going about that they could do a third fight.
Oh, no, please no.
I don't think you need to.
I was like,
I don't think you need to.
I don't. No. I mean, whatever. Then, obviously, Shevchenko makes sense. A lot of sense. But then, I seen something about Kayla Harrison.
Nah, it's not feasible.
That would need to be cross promotion, which of course is.
And I was like,
eliminates it.
Who's putting that out there? Because that's, I mean, how long have they got? How many fights has she got left?
I want to say it was like a fucking 3-year deal or some shit. Because obviously, like PFL working seasons, so I think they signed her for like the next 3 seasons or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was a long-term deal. So it was.
I mean, she is their franchise player effectively, isn't she? With PFL, like, she's not going anywhere.
Yep.
And UFC do not play with others, so it's.
It
ain't happening, man.
I'd say there's less than a 5% chance that fight happens, like ever.
Aye.
Nunes will retire before it's even possible to put that fight together, I would think.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like the situation with Gina Carano and Ronda Rousey. So Gina Carano, obviously now an actor, she was in Mandalorian or some shit like that. She'd been in a bunch of films.
She was in The Mandalorian, yes. She was really good in The Mandalorian.
She was one of the absolute OGs of women's MMA. She left the sport when she was at her peak and went into movies. Cyborg launched her career by beating Gina Carano. She became like a kind of, not quite a household name or anything, but like within the MMA circle, she became notorious for beating Gina Carano, and she's obviously went on to have a hell of a career. So then Ronda Rousey was like the next generation. The next kind of 3-4 years for Gina Carano retiring and going into movies, Ronda Rousey's career boomed. Dana White's like, after failing to put together Brock Lesnar and Fedor Emelianenko, Dana White's like next dream match that he tried really hard to put together was Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. It's like these two generations of fighters who were both kind of like Mount Rushmore level fighters for women's MMA for different kind of reasons, and tried really hard and put a lot of money on the table to get that fight to happen, and it just never quite played out. I think Amanda Nunes and Kayla Harrison is kind of the next generation's version of that. Amanda Nunes has been working her way up the ladder and dominating two divisions, while Kayla Harrison has been doing her thing, playing her trade in judo. Kayla Harrison's moved into MMA and done very well for herself in the PFL. Now it's an absolute dream match. People want to know what would happen there, but chances are it just doesn't happen.
Mm.
So, aye. Lots of questions coming off of this card, I've got to say. What's happening at flyweight? What's happening at bantamweight and featherweight for the women? Who knows? Time will tell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very good summation.
Any final thoughts on UFC 277?
No.
Sourdough. Right. Next week, what have we got? First up, August 5th, we have the PFL playoffs numero uno. We have... Now, actually, I've got the fights there, but I've not got the divisions, so let me just pull up the card on PFL website so that I can tell you what divisions. Alright, so August 5th, that's correct. Why is it written funky? What's happening here? Right. PFL are strange, man. So the way they've not got the card on their website, they've not got the card in the order that the fights will happen in. So, in no particular order, here is the fights that are taking place in PFL Playoffs 1. So, for the first featherweight semi-final, we have Zurcher versus Jimenez. For the first lightweight semi-final, we have Espinoza versus Jackson. For the first welterweight semi-final, we have Barbosa versus Umarov. For the first lightweight semi-final, we have Pergande versus Quiles. For the... Wait, was that the first? I'd be on a lightweight. No, that was the second. That was the second lightweight. Third lightweight semi-final, we've got Pettis versus Ray, the rematch. That's the main event of the card, by the way. First light heavyweight semi-final, we have got Akhmedov versus Silveira. Final lightweight semi-final, we have Aubin Mercier versus Martinez. And second light heavyweight semi-final, Wilkinson Monte. Heavyweight that's no a... Wait, is it? Aye, heavyweight semi-final, Nunes versus Potter. Another light heavyweight semi-final, Hendricks Hamlet. Welterweight swing bout, so I think that means like a stand-in. Sebi versus Babaludzi. That is the card in a really weird order. I don't understand why they've done that. Seems like a really strange way to put the card on your website, but nevertheless. So, the biggest thing there is obviously the rematch between Anthony Pettis and Stevie Ray. So, all the best to your Stevie.
Absolutely, man. Good luck.
Hopefully, he can get the job done yet again. Aye, he's beat him once. No reason he can't beat him again. And that would put him in the final, fighting for $1 million.
Chase that $1 million.
Which would be epic for him. Then, on August 6th, we have UFC Vegas 59. So this time in order, we have opening the card, Mera Bueno Silva versus Stephanie Egger, Corey McKenna versus Miranda Granger, Jason Witt versus Josh Quinlan, Nate Landwehr versus Zubaira Tukhugov, something like that. Terence McKinney versus Eric Gonzalez, Brian Battle versus Takashi Sato, Sam Alvey versus Mikhail Oleksichuk. Main card, we have Ariane Lipsky versus Priscilla Cachoeira, Augusta Sakai versus Sergey Spivak, Brogan Walker versus Juliana Miller, Mohammed Usman, big brother of Kamaru. Mohammed Usman is a heavyweight. In fact, no, a wee brother. I think he's his little big brother. Not sure. Anyway, he's fighting Zach Puga. Then Vincente Luque versus Jeff Neal. That's a fun fight. And Thiago Santos versus Jamal Hill. Also a fun fight in the main event.
Is it no Jamal?
Oh, I've done this before, haven't I? I've done this multiple times. Aye, it's Jamal. Yes.
Well, Harvey.
Well caught. Aye, Jamal Hill. So, aye, a few interesting fights. It's a bit of a kind of step down. Not step down, that's not fair. A bit of a smaller card next week for the UFC, but we've also got PFL next week, so that fills things out. Very intrigued to see Anthony Pettis and Stevie Ray, to see how that plays out. And there's some fun fights in the UFC as well. So, before we sign off, well, first of all, before I say what I'm going to say, any questions, concerns, thoughts on the two cards, lads?
Nothing at all. Looking forward to it.
Sweet. So, before we go, next week is summer holiday time for the podcast, but more specifically for me and my crew. So we are taking a break from recording. However, we've got you covered. We're going to record an extra episode today. We're going to do a wee bonus after Mash along with our other episodes today. So that will be coming out on Wednesday the something.
I'm glad you went into this prepared.
August something.
That will be Wednesday, August 10th. That will be the release date for the Aftermash. And then we will be back to normal the following week. So, if you have been, thank you very much for listening. I have been Mick, they have been Harvey and Paul. A cheery bye, driver.
Bye.
Bye, driver.
See you in 2 weeks.